Good morning and happy Friday. Welcome to our No Fool Live, where me, Sunita, and my co-host Tracy from Miss Tracy Kessler and Lauren from Story Palace, we hop on every Friday for 30 minutes and chat everything North Fork. I apologize in advance. I have some construction going on, so there might be some banging. You probably can already hear it in the background. For a lot of the time. But welcome back, and we are so happy to have everyone on. I just wanted to say that good morning, Lauren. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I this construction is like stop and go, stop and go. So
Okay.
today is go again. So there's a lot of hammering and nailing. So the mute button is going to come in handy today. How are you? Good morning, Tracy.
Good
Hi, Mama.
morning. Hi. We're
I,
trying to sling today, so we'll see if Tilly cooperates.
I dig it. Oh my God, the mom sling. That's a pro
Yeah.
move right there.
I'm gonna be standing for most of today's show.
Oh yeah, that's for
We
sure.
we do what we gotta do, right?
I
This is
feel
this
you.
is what this is what I love about the live. It's real, real. It's whatever is going on, whatever hair day, whatever construction day, whatever baby day. Here it
Oh
is.
my
Here we
God.
are. Show up.
I
Exactly.
know. What you guys
Exactly.
don't know is that we just rushed my child out of the house so quickly, and props to my husband, because let me tell you, 5 minutes ago was a different story in this household.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine, Lauren.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
but but honestly, that is what I love about our show. Is
Yeah,
it's literally just us chatting, catching up, what's going on, and what's new, and you get what you get. So
I
welcome.
know. Hi,
Yeah.
Treva.
Hi.
Hi.
Treva is the mom who really does wrangle it all. I mean, we're just talking about like trying to finesse a child while also doing a job slash life.
Yes, yes. I'm lucky enough to chase Lucian around while I cut and trace and those sorts of things. But it's also, it keeps us both busy. Me
Oh my
working
gosh.
and sort of wrangling him.
How
Is he
old?
just like,
How old is your son?
He's 22 months. He'll be 2 in June.
Oh, so you're
yay?
still in the thick of it too. All three of us. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
He
goodness.
sleeps really well. For now, we still have the future ahead of us. But that's a blessing in and of itself. Being
Oh
with
my
him is
God.
fabulous, but being with him and having a full night's sleep is the best.
Yes,
It
I'm looking
really
forward
is
to that someday.
a game changer. I know. My daughter wakes up at 5 a.m. and we're working with a sleep trainer to extend our mornings. Because by 8 o'clock, she is the crankiest human alive. And we're taking a nap for 2 hours at 8 o'clock in the morning, just to reprieve ourselves. So she just woke up from her nap and is out now outside playing in the rain. So, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm surprised I look so dewy this morning. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I think we're all happy with the weather. I mean, I know it's raining, but it's warm. I was so happy to be able to open the door and step outside without shivering. It's been
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
I
yeah.
know. I
We had
know.
to pull out our warm hats again these last couple of days, but we did have a week there where we didn't have to wear hats, and that was nice.
Yeah.
I know. It
I
really
got I got
is.
the puppy coat out again. I didn't want to, but I did.
Honestly, I never even put it all away to be honest. I'm not that together, guys. Um, let's be honest. Treva, I'm so excited to have you on. I feel like we've planned this since like, I don't know, I've been begging you since like September, but we've had this on the books for a few months now, and I'm just so
Yeah,
thrilled the date is actually here.
yeah, me
Um,
too.
can you tell us all about your wonderful creations? I love hearing your story.
So I make mainly teddy bears, bunnies, kittens, lambs. That's the general sort of lineup, I guess, of usual suspects. I do them what is called small batch because it's just me working on it, but I do, you know, usually I shoot for 300 a year. 3 to 400 is a comfortable spot. This year, I'd really like to make 600 if I can. And that means, making 15 a week, which honestly is a little bit of a push. And what I do is I prepare the fabric, which generally is just washing it. and then trace, cut, sew, stuff, sew, embroider, sew, stuff, sew clothes, tag, and ship. So there's a lot of steps to the process, like there is for making anything. And, you know, some of it is a little like eating plain popcorn, but then there's the moments where you get to embroider the face, and it's, you know, it's fun. It's fun and rewarding, you know, especially when I get to see kids with the toys. I have to say that that is, it surprises me every time how much joy I get by seeing a child with one of them. You know, it feels really good.
I
How
love
did you
it.
get started doing this?
So, you know, there's people move out here to the North Fork for lots of different reasons, right? Which mainly I would assume is sort of the bucolic setting. And that's the reason that we came out here. And I thought initially I would fit into the wine scene and to the farming scene, where I tried my hand, but then I realized that I didn't really want to work with the public in the same way that I had been waiting tables for many years. And farming is fantastic, but it is also so physically demanding, you know,
Yes.
and there's not really great margins in my experience. So I started experimenting with this other skill set that I have, which is sewing, and then sort of found this momentum with it and realized, okay, there is a market. And Lori at White Flower Farmhouse started stocking my things. And she's actually the first one who asked me to make a teddy bear, which is now my bread and butter. So that's where we began. And then from there, I amassed almost 20 stores wholesale throughout the United States, which I significantly had to trim back when Lucian was born in 2020. And now I just have 4 stores that I try to keep stocked. And that, along with Etsy, which has also significantly picked up in the last 2 years, keeps me really busy.
So you're describing them as toys. I've been lucky enough to see your creations at Flower, and I'm certainly not a kid by any definition, other than, but
At heart.
I love them. I mean, there's a sailboat you make, and in my mind, it's like I thought you made it for me, not so much for a child, you know?
Yeah.
So I just love that there's this diversity, and there's also something so soothing about your creations. I don't know if it's the touch or if it's the feel or if it's the vibe or all of it. I just want you to know that I just love every time I walk there. I always go to see what else is restocked from you.
That's so nice to hear. Thank you for sharing that with me. That feels really nice. You know,
but also hearing you talk about how you make it, and you know, the sewing, the cut, I know it's like 50,000 steps, but it just sounds so therapeutic, even the process of creating it. So I love that. I mean, I'm sure it's repetitive for you, and at some point it's probably not as therapeutic as we used to be.
Yeah, and that's what, as makers, I think that that's a common experience. You know, like for instance, if you think about somebody who works in the kitchen at a restaurant, right? Like they're making the same dish over and over and over and over, and each time is an exercise in quality, I guess. You know, like I would like to say that when I cut these guys out, I stay on the line, not beside the line. But occasionally, you know, I wiggle a little bit, like these things happen. But in each step of the process, there is a certain level of meditation that happens, and the reward of concentration. I would say that that's something that, you know, we can all sort of relate to, that we have these tasks throughout our day, whether they be, you know, in our employment or not, where you sort of get into this lovely groove of completing a task, and how the feedback is of positivity and just satisfaction. You know, like there's that in the pieces, and if that comes out in the touch or the experience of the object, man, that's great. Like that feels real nice.
So what I picked up on when you were telling your story is that you started making these before you had your son.
Yeah. I've been doing Thistle Stitch, I guess, probably for 5 years now. In earnest, I would say maybe 4 years. You know, in the beginning, I was just dabbling and just trying to make some stuff and maybe sell some of it. And now, which is also like part of the evolution of being a business owner, maybe having this like just truly understanding that yes, there is a market, yes, the product is valued and it will sell. It's just a matter of getting them stitched together, you know, and then they're gone. Like I sell them as quickly as I can make them, honestly, which sometimes is overwhelming, but for the most part is fantastic. Now I'm just talking and I forgot exactly what your question was.
I was saying that you started making these before you had your son,
yeah.
Which I, of course, once you started telling us you're a mom, assumed that it came out of because you had a son. But I love that you started it before and then you had a son. Yeah. And I would say I bought several of your teddy bears for my friends who have babies. And I think with this whole like neutral nursery revolution, of course, and I'm on that train, it's like the perfect gift to give people because, you know, you don't really know if people want something bright pink or, you know, blue or whatever, you know, like it's really nice to have that neutral handmade teddy bear that's obviously put a lot of time into making it to give as a gift.
Yeah.
And all the material is so soft. I mean, or not. I mean, sometimes it's that vintage. I mean, I have quite a few hearts made from vintage materials that I know Lori sources. And I think it's just, it's such a, like Sunita said, there's something for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I forget about all of the other products that I have outside of the teddy bears, bunnies, kittens, lambs. Maybe because I don't make them in the same quantity that I do of the other items. And I don't actually move those ones on Etsy either. So it's sort of, I mean, it definitely rounds out the experience for me. And that variety is really the spice of life. I can't tell you how nice it is to whip out a different fabric that I haven't seen in a month or so that actually keeps it sort of fresh and exciting for me. But
oh, and also your Christmas star.
Softness is something about it, and I think I'm not sure. Like, yeah. Well, I hope I answered the question.
Yeah.
Lauren, I forgot. I have the Christmas stars too.
I had the Christmas star on my tree this year. You were the topper to my tree.
That's so cool.
That Betty insisted on putting up every day. We just took it down and then we put it back up. But it was great. She couldn't break it, and it was stunning. I loved it.
Yes. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you came out to the North Fork. Tell us how you ended up out here. Do you have a family history here, or how did you end up here?
My husband does. My husband grew up in Wading River, and about 6 years ago now, we, you know, changed from Washington, D.C. and moved out here to Long Island so that he could take a butchering job at 8 Hands, which we live next door to, and I'm actually looking out the window over the farm, which is another really excellent job, or portion of my job that I can, you know, take in all the animals and just like the open space and all of that is man, it's pretty good. But that's why we moved out here, so that we could both be closer to working with food. We both worked in the city with food for many years, and this is just sort of like a different arm of that. So that's how we got here.
One of the things I think that's repeated week after week, and I think maybe it ends up because we are talking to small business owners every week, is that there really is some magic that happens here where people show up and then discover through a process of perhaps evolution, like you said, you thought maybe farming, maybe the wine industry, and then here you find yourself doing something that you so obviously love and find joy in. Yeah. And I wonder if it's something to do with being in the right place at the right time, or there is perhaps some magic of being in the North Fork in terms of collaboration, because week after week, White Flower Farmhouse name and Lori's name comes up. And from my chair, she's one of the biggest supporters of nudging and pushing people into discovering what it is they want to do. Because you mentioned she encouraged you to make the teddy bears, even though you perhaps, what were you making before that?
I'd made these little pigs. Yeah, they were pigs. And chickens, pigs and chickens. Yeah.
I think Patrice still has hers. I'm not gonna lie.
I just stopped making them because they're just so time consuming to make. And that was another thing that actually came out of motherhood was understanding the value of my time and quantifying that in a way that perhaps is more realistic and, giving myself more value, which is also really worthwhile and a nice outcome.
I love that. And so I have to ask, the only thing we really haven't talked about is how did you come up with the name?
Thistle Stitch. I mean, I am crazy about flowers. I love flowers, all of them. And I think thistles are particularly underrated. They're just so glorious. And now they're getting a lot more action. You know, there's one called Eryngium, I think it is. I don't know what its common name is. But they're gorgeous, right? They're sort of glittery and gray and purple and white. And then they have that added sort of repellent of spikes, which is so, you want them, but you can't have them. And I love thistles. I think they're wonderful. And, in the early stages where I was making the pigs and other small Christmas ornaments, and I was trying to come up with a name, I was just playing around with words and came up with Thistle Stitch, and I fell in love with it. So I stuck with it. But it turns out it's a little bit of a tongue twister. People have a tough time saying it.
Oh, that's interesting. I agree. I mean, I'm Scottish as well, so thistles are a thing that I've grown up with. So I think I'm just like drawn to the name in general. So obviously, I mean, we're kindred spirits, but I just love the name so much, and I just think it's such an interesting twist on what you do. But at the same time, it's clear. Everyone hears it and they know who you are, especially here on the North Fork.
That's nice. That's nice. I would say, to kind of circle back to what you were saying about people finding a different aspect of their maybe potential on the North Fork. We found a really loving and supportive community here. And I think that might have a lot to do with just fostering somebody's passion. And I think maybe that's what it boils down to. And like I said, like in the beginning, it was like, hey, is there a market for this? Is this something that like people really want? And then there was the support for that. And, seeing other people accomplish things as small business owners is bolstering beyond, quantity. Like, seeing the business owners here is also really helpful for that. Recently on National Women's Day, a friend put out a list of women business owners, and I was just astounded when I looked through that list to see so many strong women running businesses in a very, of course, humble, simple way, and feeling like I'm one of those women, and that feels really good, and it's not like I'm not making millions and I'm not curing cancer, right? Like I'm not fooling everybody. Like I'm making teddy bears and sailboats and whatnot. But gosh darn it, it's rewarding. It feels good, and I think that it does enrich people's lives.
It brings joy.
Brings joy, right? There's value in that for sure. There's value.
Sure.
Happiness is worth a lot.
And I think also to be able to raise a son, knowing your worth and knowing the power that you can bring to a community, I think is also so valuable. I mean, as we raise children in this world, I think it's just an amazing time to be a mom, but also a woman. And I was raised by a very powerful, know your worth lady. Thanks, Mom. She's watching. And I think it's just so important that it's just like the reality is Beyonce's right. Who runs the world? It's girls.
Yes,
to be honest.
Yes, it is. And we're raising these wonderful little people, and I think you're absolutely right. Like having that example for him, especially, the kid, when I hold up that soft fabric right out of the dryer, I hold it up sort of like a towel, and he gets to run into it and roll around. He definitely is part of my fabric testing. He is the fabric tester. Okay. He loves them. And that is a wonderful part of it. But he sees me cutting everything out, stacking it all up, when I'm stuffing them. Dude has 5 little stuffies that I've made, and one of them I made, this lion. It took me forever, and I wanted to make it so badly for him. He could care less about it. But the classic brown teddy bear, loves it, carries it around everywhere. And I don't know, like that process of making something is such a powerful thing to teach, right? Like here we have some flat fabric, and the next day or the next afternoon we have this teddy bear. You know, that's if I could give him anything, I mean, that would certainly be one of the things.
I feel you so similarly. When I dye my flowers, Betty's eyes just are like, what is happening? Well, first of all, you have to talk through why I'm cutting up a book. So I totally understand that. Like, you're like, okay, we love this fabric. It's beautiful. It's fun to run through, but now we have to make something from it. And I think it's such an evolution to be able to see something so physically transform in front of their eyes.
Yeah.
And I think it's I get a kick out of it. I'm sure he gives everyone a little hug before they head home to their homes.
I can't, like, there's a certain point at which, I mean, I've learned my lesson over time, you know, now that he's able to reach the table easily and nothing is safe. You know, these things go directly into boxes and bags because he wants them. And I don't blame him. They're delightful, you know.
I love that you get to share the process. First of all, the fact that you get to do what you love, but then to be able to share it, you know, with your kids, and just the joy of, you know, it being, you know, because people, it goes back to the cliche of when you do what you love, then it doesn't feel like work. And of course it's hard work and you're creating these things, but not only are you bringing joy to people that buy it, but sounds like there's a lot of joy in even making the making process, especially because you can involve your family. And it's also something you can do at your own flexible time and still be a mom and still be a wife and still be a person that wants to go out and do the things you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's a fair amount of truth to that statement, but I'm still, you know, working with work-life balance like lots of people are who work from home, and especially who are mothers working from home. You know, on an average day, I wake up at 7, thank God, that's the best. Lucian's usually awake, just sitting in his crib waiting for me. And, you know, we do our morning thing. I'm usually beginning Thistle Stitch around 8:30. Try to take him outside around 10:30. And then it's lunchtime, nap time. I do all the sewing that I can. I sit at the sewing machine, usually for 2 to 3 hours. Dude's been taking 3-hour naps lately. It's unbelievable. Like, I can't, like, I don't, if he could give me anything, it would be 3. And then it's back to work, right? So and the whole time we're hanging out together, and he's reading his books and we're singing, and I'm working at the dining room table, less of the table though, because like I said, he can reach everything. Then it's dinner time. Papa comes home, we hang out for a little bit, we have dinner, and then I'm back to work. And I work until, you know, usually around 10 o'clock. I take a couple nights a week off because I'm human and I like to sit in my bed and read a book, you know?
Yeah.
But I work a lot, and like squeezing all of this stuff in is really challenging as far as like, you know, my own idea of relaxation and accomplishment and like finding balance for those things.
Well, all you have to do is wait about 20 years, which is what I did, and then kids are growing on, and then you can all the time you want. But what I was going to say earlier was, as you were talking, Tracy, I couldn't help smiling and continuously thinking of you, because you still are a few or several months behind in terms of being able to do things. Because right now you're nonstop baby.
Nonstop, yeah.
But I hope you're listening and realizing that there's hope, and then in a few months that you may be able to be having her wait for you in the crib while you know.
Yeah, that naps are coming.
Yeah, I know, right? I just passed my nap moment in life, which is so sad.
You know, if I can say this, and I understand everybody's experience is different, but you know, for me, the first few months with Lucian, I was really pushing against this idea of getting back to work, and I had people constantly checking in with me to see if I was working again. And you know, should I have another baby, I think that I would say to all of those people, I'll let you know when I'm working again, because that was a lot of pressure on me to get back to work. And I didn't understand how I was processing that as pressure, and really like just holding your baby and, you know, soothing them, sometimes just looking eye to eye, like all of that is so valuable, and I think should be given all the time that you would like to give it. And I think that, you know, it is work. It is a job taking care of your baby. So you can also easily say when somebody says, are you working? You're like, yep, full time and overtime, you know?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until Lucian was like maybe 10 months old and actually sitting up and doing, you know, 3 naps a day, like reliable naps a day, that I felt like I had my feet under me again, you know? And now that he's almost 2, like, okay, I'm a regular human being with my own identity. But there's, if you feel pressure and you're wondering how can I possibly juggle all of these things, I want you to know that I was there too. And sometimes you can just say, I'm not going to juggle right now. I'm just going to do this one thing. You know?
Yeah.
And that's
this one ball only at this time. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And other people's expectations, you know, thank you for caring, but I'm going to let you know when I'm back to work.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Yes, it is very, I would say the majority of all of my new mom stress is that I'm a single mom. So, you know, the idea of going back to work, I really wish I didn't have to, but, you know, I definitely do. And there's just like this pressure, and childcare out here is so difficult to find people, you know, I mean, there's so many people who need it and not enough people who are doing it. So, you know, it's a lot of pressure, but taking it one day at a time and using all the tools that we can. Yesterday, Yesterday, actually, one of my coworkers from the city is here this week, and we're getting my office ready here at home. And we were out there from about 7 to 9 last night, and I had her in a different carrier in the Bjorn. She was sound asleep, and we were like moving things around, and I was pointing. I was like, move that, let's do that, let's do this. And I was like, all right, we can do this. We can do this.
Yep. Exactly.
Baby wearing is empowering. Baby wearing is empowering. Yeah.
And it's such a connection too, I feel like. We're all rock stars, remember. Who runs the world?
Yeah. Well, we should do our 5 and 5 because we're running out of time here.
So obviously you live next to 8 Hands, so that's going to be a given. But is there a farm stand, or where are you making sure you drive past before you go home?
So, you know, honestly, it depends on what time of year. I make a trip out to, oh my gosh, what is the place called? On 25A, sort of near Jamesport in the springtime. I go out there Nope. This is a small stand. I want to say it starts with a W, and I'm not able to remember it right now. But they're peas. I love them so much. I buy them. It's like $5 a bag. I buy them 3 bags at a time. I eat 1 bag in the car on the way home. You know, blueberries, raspberries, that sort of thing. Treva Farms, absolutely. I can't wait for their asparagus. I'm like chomping at the bit for asparagus.
Love it.
Deep roots. We always love to swing by Deep Roots, especially for greens. They generally have them year round, and being able to just pop in and grab them whenever you want is the best. Sometimes we go to KK's for carrots and that sort of thing. But honestly, it's like, Wisnowski. I mean, dude, the guys are so, like, they're super friendly. I like to just go by and say hi, you know, but like we get all sorts of stuff from them, especially in the fall. We do lots of broccoli and cauliflower from there.
I was freaking out when their shed disappeared one day because I thought, but then thankfully they just rebuilt the bigger, better one. That was what was happening, people. It's fine.
So, no, I love all those. We're gonna add them all to our list. So when you go to the one you can't remember, tag us in it, and then we'll post it.
They're the best. But generally I make the trip out there for spring, because otherwise it's like, why am I going to Jamesport? We just don't go, you know, that often. Yeah.
All right, Sunita, you're up. Sunset.
You hear the construction in the background of my house?
Okay, got it.
All right, I'll do restaurants. So we're stopping to say what's your favorite, because there's so many. So what restaurant are you frequenting right now?
So right now I have this like real soft spot for this calamari salad for 2 at Touch of Venice. It's like my comfort food. It's fried calamari and delicious crunchy lettuce, and there's pepperdew peppers. Like, give it to me. and I can share it with my husband, which is nice.
Crunchy lettuce?
Say it again, Sunita.
Did you say crunchy lettuce?
Yeah, I mean, it's crunchy lettuce. Like,
Oh, I thought it was fried. I was like, hold on, because you said fried. So I was like, okay, this is like totally fried.
Yeah. It's not. No,
Sunita.
neat idea. I'm not opposed to it. But then we also do Noodle Bowl at Alley Cat's Kitchen on Thursdays occasionally, and that is so good. And I can give Lucian a little bit of the leftovers the next day for dinner, which is great too.
Oh, I love it. I didn't know they did that on Thursdays.
Yeah, Noodle Bowl on Thursdays in the wintertime. I'm not sure if they're currently doing it now that the season is sort of shifting. I would have to check back in. It's been a little while since we got to do it. But my husband cooks, and he cooks wonderfully. And so, you know, we usually eat at home because he's just a good cook.
That's
Nothing bad about that.
So now where you are location by 8 Hands, do you catch a sunrise? Do you catch a sunset? Or do you drive?
Well, sunset for us, my favorite place to see the sunset would be from Oregon Road on our bicycles. That would be my absolute favorite. And, you know, that's like a, you know, a real dreamy evening for us is a bicycle ride down Oregon Road. And then we buzz to Lieb, which is the winery there on Oregon Road. And, you know, like, it's such a great combo. And they're so close to our house. And it's, like I said, bikes and everything. It's dreamy.
So what did we forget? Lauren, you're up with wineries, right?
Thank you. Yes. Oh my God. I'm going to blame the non-sleeping part of this.
Well, there's Lieb on the list.
Lieb, yeah, we touched on Lieb, but so obviously that's a frequent spot for you guys. Is there any other wineries that are just like favorites?
Like a gazillion, like all of them. I mean, I wish I could go to all of them. We go to Lieb, we're part of the wine club there. They're super lovely. And now that, you know, we're able to go back in the tasting room a little bit, it's really nice to connect with the folks there again and drink their delicious wine. They have a sparkling Pinot Blanc that is just off the hook. So good. I'm really excited to try sparkling Riesling from, what is it, RGNY. But, you know, I used to be a wine geek, and now I just drink it when I can. But there's so many great places to go out here, you know, for ambiance, for delicious wine, for whatever. But Lieb's our go-to.
Love it.
Well, thank you so much for being on our show today. If you could sum up in 1 or 2 sentences why you love being a part of the North Fork community, tell us where your heart lies.
Food, farm, and friends.
Oh, I love it.
Great.
And real quick before we head off, your Etsy account, where can people find you?
It's Thistle Stitch Studio is on Etsy, and I guess, you know, I've sort of had like hit and miss with the algorithm, pardon me, for searching it. But I would search Thistle Stitch on Etsy and see what comes up, and then maybe toss in the word teddy bear if they're, you know, trying hard for it. But they can always hit me up on Instagram and shop at White Flower Farmhouse.
Love it.
And you mentioned
you so
in 4 stores. Are they locally or are they out of the North Fork? Because I know White Flower Farmhouse does.
Oh yeah, I have this wonderful store in Maine called Farm Plus Table. I'm working on a 54-piece order for them right now. It's huge.
I saw that on your Instagram.
Oh my gosh. And then I have one in Texas, Tattered Style, that I'm working with right now. And then also Painted Swan in Brooklyn.
Love
Wow.
it.
That's awesome. Taking over the world. Maybe Australia next.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining. I loved hearing the backstory because we both love your beautiful creations, but it was great to hear how they come to be. Come back anytime you're making something new. I'm going to get my hands on one of those chickens. They sound really good. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you
Friday.
It was nice to spend this time with you all too. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Love you.
Bye.